Guys, this video is about getting promoted as an RCA in the post office. So post offices are very different. There's some post offices like my post office, all we have is 3 rural routes, no city routes. That's it, 3 full rural routes. I fill in sometimes on a weekend at a post office where there are 2 full rural routes and a smaller aux route, and then there's 8 city routes. And you'll find that kind of mix. There are some post offices where they might have 20 rural routes and 20 city routes or something like that. But anyways, I thought I'd make an example of promotion. So I just kind of made up kind of a fake example. So here is a post office with 4 routes. So this is the way it works. The blue circles represent the regular carriers. So you got the regular carriers. They do their route usually 5 times a week. That's the norm. And then they have a sub that fills in 1 day a week. So here we have, and that's represented by these kind of beigeish orange circles. And so the subs, there's supposed to be 1 assigned to each route, and you get seniority. So the number 1 sub has seniority over the number 4 sub. The number 4 sub is the one who got hired last. That's just the way it is. Now, let's say that one of the regulars either gets, takes a different job. So they could take, become a supervisor in the post office. They might just quit. They could resign, or maybe they pass away, but for whatever reason, they are no longer doing their job, right? So what happens is, boom, we have an open route. Okay, so what's supposed to happen, and this can take some time, but what's supposed to happen is everybody bids for their route. So that route is open, and here's what happens. If the full-time carriers, so if the blue circles don't like the route they're on, they can bid for that route. And all of the RCAs, all the subs can bid for that route, but who's going to get it? So what's going to happen is the full-time carriers are going to move around and take the route they want, okay, and leave the least desirable route open for the sub. And so that number 1 sub comes in and fills that position. Okay, so now they have a full-time route and they become a regular carrier. So now it shifts. So now the person who was the 3rd senior becomes 2nd, and the 4th senior becomes 3rd, and so on. So now here's what we have. So now they're a regular carrier. They're assigned to the least desirable route, and we have these subs. Now the person who was the number 2 sub is the number 1 sub, and so they would get the next position. So that's the way it works. And sometimes this can take years, I mean, if all of these regular carriers are young and like working there, they might be there for 10, 20 years yet. So it's conceivable that you coming in as an RCA never get that job, okay? Or maybe they retire relatively soon. So it's hard to say how long it's going to take you, but that's the way it's supposed to work. Sometimes you have a position where you don't have enough carriers, so you might have an RCA filling in, and maybe they don't have enough seniority to fill that position, but they come in as a PTF and they hold down that full-time route, and then the other carriers have to work 6 days a week unless they can find other people to carry it. Sometimes they have to have city carriers help out. Sometimes you have people carrying more than 1 route because they just don't have any subs. So that can be the situation. It is possible in this day and age. I've heard people getting hired directly off the street to become full-time carriers if there's the situation where they just don't have enough carriers. They don't have any subs. They don't have any carriers. Anyways, let me know what your questions are. Let me know what you think, and we will talk to you later. All right.